A religious mob violence in Bangladesh in October 2021 during Durga Puja. A mentally ill person has been stoned to death in Pakistan. This happened just over 2 months after when a Sri Lankan factory manager has been killed in similar ways for the similar reason. When a college in Karnataka, which is a state in India, asked a group of hijab wearing Muslim girls to abide by the college uniform, a religious violence also erupted. In 2020, we experienced schoolteacher Samuel Paty's murder in France and mass shooting by Islamist terrorists in Austria as well. The list is long, but you got my point. The core idea of this religiously motivated violence is always us versus them, because we tend to see things in binaries. And this is not another video to talk about the problems again. Here, we are going to discuss the potential solutions. The simple solution to this repeated occurrence is ideal secularism as a part of humanism. In popular discourse, this word secularism is often misunderstood and closely associated with leftist ideology. However, there's some more to it. Many people know this word, but a few know how to apply them in this present-day world. So today we are going to talk about the application of ideal secularism. How should we apply it in our real life in this present-day situation? So first, let's understand, what does it mean to be an ideal secular? The ideal secularism is often understood as the negation of any religion. A person is religious when they do the things their religion asks them to do. On the contrary, an ideal secular person is often defined by the things that they don't do. They don't believe in angels, existence of prophets, they don't go to churches, gurdwaras, monasteries, temples or mosques, and they don't perform rituals. The ideal secularism is a part of humanism. It carries a positive worldview which is consisted of coherent code of values. Unlike religion, where most of the codes of the values are enforced in the fear of God or spirits, to be a virtuous person or to be a sinner. Humanism is a rational philosophy, informed by the science, inspired by the arts, and motivated by the compassion. Humanism is democratic and ethical, which affirms that human beings have the right and the responsibility to create their own meaning and shape their own lives. They don't think the morality and the wisdom didn't come down from the heaven in a particular place and time. Rather, morality and wisdom are the natural legacy of humans. So it is also very natural that some of the values are in common in all the societies, regardless of any society, namely Muslim, Hindu or Christian societies. So now we have an idea what is an ideal secularism as a part of humanism. So now we are going to talk about 6 steps to follow to apply this ideal secularism as a part of humanism in our life. The first and the most important step to become an ideal secular is the commitment to the truth, which is based on observation and evidence rather on mere faith. The ideal seculars tend not to confuse truth with the faith. If you have a strong belief in some story, it tells lots of interesting things about you, about your childhood, about your brain structure, but it doesn't prove the story to be real. Often, the strong beliefs are needed precisely when the stories are false. In another video, I have explained how we always make our stories real through rituals. You can click on this I button to watch that video as well. The ideal secular people don't subscribe to any group, any book, or any leaders. The second step that the ideal seculars are committed to is the compassion. The ideal secular ethics don't obey commands from this or that god. Rather, they carry a deep appreciation for sufferings. For instance, an ideal secular person abstains themselves from killing not because it is forbidden by the god, rather killing inflicts immense amount of suffering in any sentient beings. So the first 2 steps of truth and compassion lead us to the commitment to the equality. Although the ideal seculars may have different opinion on economic and political situations, however, they are suspicious about all the hierarchies. For example, suffering is suffering no matter whomsoever feels it. Knowledge is knowledge no matter whomsoever discovers it. So the equality should be respected as the step number 3 on the way to become an ideal secular. The fourth step is very important to validate all other 3 steps. This step is freedom. We cannot seek for the truth until we have the freedom to think, to investigate, and experiment. The ideal seculars cherish the freedom. They refrain from abiding by any supreme authority of a text, of a book, or of a prophet or a leader as their judge who will tell them what is right and what is wrong. Humans should always retain the right to doubt, to check again, to hear a second opinion, to try a different path for a change. The fifth step, courage, is also deductively connected to other 4. It takes lots of courage to fight against any biases or an oppressive regime. But it takes even more courage to acknowledge the ignorance and embark on a journey to discover the unknown. Humanism teaches us if we don't know something, we should not be afraid of acknowledging the ignorance. This is the first step to discover the unknown. Acknowledging the fact that there is a problem is the first step towards the solution of that problem. Generally, when religious people, they see that they are losing their truth in front of others, they tend to become violent. And if we see all the religiously motivated violences, we can see in all the cases the mob who committed the violence felt threatened because someone else is denying their truth, and the mob had to become violent to reinforce their truth in the disbelievers. So those who tried to question encountered the violence. On the other hand, those who did the violence, they didn't want to look into the same thing from different perspective. They're afraid of losing their truth. In all the cases, the religiously motivated people who committed the violence are afraid from the questions. As an ideal secular person would say, the questions that you cannot answer are far better than the answers that you cannot question. The final and sixth step is responsibility. Ideal secular person don't believe in any higher power who takes care of this world or punishes the wicked, reward the just, protect us from famine, plague, or a pandemic. On the other hand, we also need to take full responsibility for the negative things, for the increasing crimes, failings of modernity, genocides, or ecological degradations. Instead of praying for a miracle, an ideal secular person would offer even a small help to improve the situation. So just to summarize, ideal secularism as a part of humanism is nothing but common sense, which has been uncommon particularly for religious matters. This education teaches inclusivity. It teaches to distinguish from truth to belief, to develop their compassion for all suffering beings, to appreciate the wisdom and experiences of all the earth's denizens, to think freely without fearing the unknown, and to take responsibility for their own words and actions. So hopefully, by following the humanism and in this religious matter, the ideal secularism through 6 steps, namely truth, compassion, equality, freedom, courage, and responsibility, we can definitely make a better world to live in. I hope this episode added some value to your psychological reasoning in religious matters. See you in the next, and thank you so much for being here today.